The average human touches their phone 2,617 times a day. But what would happen if every time you reach for that screen, you touched a leaf instead? You already know something is wrong. You can feel it. That low hum of anxiety that never fully goes away. That fog in your brain at 3 p.m. that no amount of coffee seems to fix. That strange feeling of being constantly connected to everything and yet deeply disconnected from yourself. We live in an age of infinite information and shrinking attention. We have 1,000 apps designed to make life easier, and yet we've never been more mentally exhausted. But what if the solution to this modern epidemic was never an app, never a pill, never a productivity hack? What if the answer has been quietly photosynthesizing on your windowsill this entire time? In early 2024, a behavioral psychology researcher named Dr. Lena Forsberg at Uppsala University in Sweden conducted a quiet experiment. No headlines, no viral tweets, just a question. What happens to the human brain when you remove its most addictive stimulus, the smartphone, and replace it with its evolutionary counterpart, a living plant? She recruited 36 volunteers, ages 22 to 45, all of them self-described heavy phone users, averaging over 7 hours of screen time per day. All of them reporting at least 3 of the following: chronic stress, poor sleep, difficulty concentrating, low mood, or a persistent sense of meaninglessness. The rules were simple. For 21 days, their phones would be locked away for all non-essential use. No social media. No scrolling. No late-night YouTube rabbit holes. Yes, I see the irony. Stay with me. In place of their phones, each participant was given a living plant. They were asked to care for it daily. Water it. Observe it. Sit with it for at least 10 minutes each morning and evening. No guided meditations. No journaling prompts. Just a plant. And their own unfiltered attention. Brain scans were taken before, during, and after the experiment. What they found changed the way I understand the human mind. By day 14, the brain scan started telling a story that words alone cannot. The amygdala, that ancient almond-shaped structure deep in your brain, the one responsible for fear, anxiety, and emotional reactivity, showed a measurable reduction in hyperactivity. In some participants, as much as 23%. Now, let me put that into perspective. Most anti-anxiety medications aim for a 15 to 30% reduction in amygdala reactivity. These people achieved similar results by watering a fern. But that wasn't the most remarkable finding. The default mode network, the DMN, that web of brain regions that activates when you're daydreaming, self-reflecting, imagining the future, processing who you are, this network had been, in most participants, severely fragmented before the experiment. Fragmented. That's the clinical word. The human word? Lost. Disconnected from themselves. Unable to sit with their own thoughts without reaching for distraction. By day 21, the default mode network showed significantly improved connectivity. The participants weren't just calmer. They were more themselves. Their brains had remembered how to wander without panic, how to be idle without guilt, how to think without being told what to think about. And here's the part that gave me chills. The researchers asked each participant to describe the change in their own words. And across 36 different people from different countries, different backgrounds, different lives, one phrase appeared again and again. I feel like I finally have space inside my own head. To understand why a plant can do what 1,000 self-help books cannot, we need to go back. Way back, about 300,000 years. For 99.9% of human history, our brains developed in direct, constant, intimate contact with the natural world. We didn't just live in nature. We were nature. Our nervous systems were calibrated by the rhythm of seasons, the sound of running water, the fractal patterns of branches against the sky. Our stress responses evolved to deal with real, immediate physical threats. A predator, a storm, a rival traído. These threats came, they peaked, and they passed. And then the nervous system returned to baseline. But now, and this is the cruel trick of modern life, our brains face threats that never end. The notification that might contain bad news. The email that might mean conflict. The social media post that might mean we're not enough. The news cycle that whispers every single hour that the world is falling apart. The threats are no longer tigers. They're pixels. But your amygdala cannot tell the difference. So your body stays in a permanent state of low-grade fight or flight. Cortisol dripping, shoulders tight, jaw clenched, sleep shallow. And you've been in this state so long, you've forgotten it isn't normal. Now, enter the plant. When Dr. Forsberg's participants sat with their plant each morning, something remarkable happened neurologically, something the researchers called attentional softening. You see, your phone demands what psychologists call directed attention, the hard, effortful, narrow focus that drains your prefrontal cortex like a battery. Every notification is a demand. Every scroll is a micro-decision. Every piece of content is competing for your cognitive resources. A plant asks for none of that. A plant invites what environmental psychologists Rachel and Stephen Kaplan called soft fascination. It's a state where your attention is gently held, not grabbed, not hijacked, but cradled. The way a candle flame holds your gaze. The way rain on a window keeps you watching without knowing why. In this state, your prefrontal cortex, that overworked, over-caffeinated CEO of your brain, finally gets to rest. Not shut down. Rest. The way a muscle recovers between sets. The way soil recovers between harvests. And here's the beautiful paradox. When you stop forcing your brain to focus, it actually becomes better at focusing. When you stop demanding productivity from yourself, creativity starts to return on its own. When you stop consuming information, wisdom begins to surface from within. The participants in the study reported a 31% improvement in sustained attention by the end of the 21 days. They reported sleeping an average of 48 minutes longer per night. Their self-reported life satisfaction scores rose by nearly 40%. But the number that stopped me in my tracks was this one. When asked, "Do you feel you understand yourself better now than before the experiment?" 33 out of 36 participants said yes. Think about that. They didn't read a single self-help book. They didn't go to therapy. They didn't travel to find themselves. They just sat with a plant. And the plant didn't tell them who they were. It simply gave them enough silence to hear the answer themselves. I want to be careful here. I'm not telling you to throw your phone into a river. I'm not telling you technology is evil. I'm speaking to you through technology right now, and you're listening. There's beauty in that connection too. But I'm asking you to consider something. When was the last time you gave your attention to something that didn't want anything from you in return? A plant doesn't ping you. It doesn't compete for your time. It doesn't algorithm its way into your anxiety. It just grows, quietly, slowly, without performance, without urgency. And in doing so, it teaches your nervous system something radical, that it's safe to slow down, that not everything requires a response. That growth, real growth, happens in silence, in patience, in the gentle, unglamorous act of showing up every day and doing the small things. The participants in Dr. Forsberg's study were asked one final question at the end of the experiment. Would you go back to your previous phone habits? Not a single one said yes. Not because they hated their phones, but because they had tasted something they'd forgotten existed. Stillness, presence, the quiet miracle of watching something grow, including themselves. There's a Japanese word, kamaribi, that describes sunlight filtering through leaves. It has no direct English translation because English never thought to name it. But your body knows it. Your brain recognizes it. Your nervous system has been waiting for it for 10,000 years. We are not machines that need upgrading. We are organisms that need sunlight and soil and the quiet company of growing things. You don't need to escape your life to find peace. You might just need to place a small green thing on your desk and remember what it felt like to pay attention to something alive. Maybe the most radical thing you can do in a world that never stops demanding your attention is give it to a leaf. If this felt like a breath you didn't know you needed, you might belong here. The plant mind is a place for people who are ready to slow down and grow in every sense of the word. Subscribe if you'd like to keep exploring. And if you know someone who needs a little more green in their life and a little less noise, share this with them. Take care of your mind. It's the only garden that's truly yours.